Let's be honest, this game was a bit of a snooze fest early on. However, Thomas Franks' tactical adaptations nearly won Spurs the game. Let's take a look at what unfolded. Tottenham being the white, United being the red, Spurs approached the game in a 4-3-1 shape that would look to build up in a back 2-4 shape. This was due to the fact that United looked to press upfield in a 4-3-1 shape, meaning for the most part United would have 4 players upfield. So Spurs looked to outnumber the United press. However, it would at times be difficult for Spurs to be able to bypass United's press, as United would not look to aggressively press for the most part, meaning they would drop off and compact the center of the pitch. And they did so quite well. However, United did look to push up, especially early on in the game. Spurs would then be able to bypass United's press and they would play the ball upfield for the counter. This is how Spurs was supposed to look, threatening towards United's goal. However, this is not exactly what unfolded. Upfield, Spurs would look to have both their fullbacks overlap, meaning their wide players would then attack the half spaces, allowing Xavi Simons to float centrally. Kolo Muani and Richarlison would swap positions during this game. This was the first tactical adaptation made by Thomas Frank. This indeed did improve Spurs' attack, as Richarlison was a better number 9 than Kolo Muani. However, did not solve the problem Spurs had at hand. Tottenham, whenever they would attack, would find it difficult to attack the center of the pitch as a result of United's really well-organized rest defense. This would mean that Tottenham would then look for better attacking potential out wide, playing crosses into the box for the likes of Richarlison and Kolo Muani. However, because these two players would rotate amongst themselves and also drop deep at times, there would occasionally be no central players to attack the cross, or the player would be late to the attack. In the second half, we would then begin to see Thomas Frank's tactical intelligence as he made a few crucial substitutions that nearly won him the game. Felinho would find it difficult to carry the ball upfield, and for the most part he would stay deeper, assisting during build-up. He was substituted for Bentancur, who would be seen in the game progressing Tottenham upfield through progressive passes and carries. This would then destabilize United's defense, as now they were being bypassed more often than in the first half, so they began to sit deep. Thomas Frank then made 2 other substitutions in Wilson Odobert for Kolo Muani and Mathys Tel for Xavi Simons. United defended in a 5-4-1 shape when deeper, which would then make it difficult for Tottenham to win the 1v1 situation out wide. However, Wilson Odobert was able to masterfully do so. He would be able to bypass Amad Diallo quite frequently. Even when another United defender would assist him, it would still be a challenge for them to defend against Wilson Odobert. Mathys Tel would play centrally with Richarlison. These two would be the target men for Tottenham upfield. Mathys Tel would be able to find really good space in the United's 18-yard box, as United players would still look to manage and man-mark Richarlison. Even when United weren't looking to man-mark Richarlison, they would be too slow to react to Mathys Tel's movements, making it challenging for United to defend against him. Spurs, however, were not flawless in this game. Let us take a look at where they were at fault. United approached the game in a 3-4-1 shape that would have 2 wing-backs in Mazraoui and Dorgu. This allowed Bryan Mbeumo and Amad Diallo to attack the half spaces. Cunha, for the most part, would drop deep or would float in and around the final third, allowing for United to make really good rotations, as Mbeumo and Amad would also look to rotate. This would make it challenging for Spurs to defend, especially considering the fact that United would play on the counter for the most part, meaning there would be more space for fluent rotations. Spurs would be the victim of their own circumstances from conceding the first goals, as they had an opportunity to clear the ball, but failed to do so, which result in United scoring the goal. This was also made into a common theme in this game, as Tottenham, whenever they would look to defend, would oftentimes be slow to react to United's rotations. This would then allow United to consistently find space to attack. This, however, does not mean Spurs were completely bad at defending in this game. They were for the most part able to well nullify the attacking space in their 18-yard box quite well. This game of football was not as entertaining early on. However, the tactical adaptations that Thomas Frank made tilted the game in the favor of Spurs, making things more interesting. Even though Tottenham did not win the game, their adaptive tactics showed much promise for the future. Final score: Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 2.